Question from the IEMT practice group. So this is what somebody sent to the practice group. Hi, everyone. Has anyone managed to successfully perform IEMT on themselves? And if yes, could you please share some advices on what made it be successful? I tried doing it many times, but I can either get no shift or I lose my focus and can't continue. What I mean is that I would get memories that had strong feelings attached to them, but then I just had to go and wash the dishes, for example, or I remembered at that very point I had to send an email. And when I tried to push myself into continuing, I would feel so irritated and agitated to continue the work, and I did not feel better or relieved after that one round. I actually felt more nervous or sad or whatever the original feeling was. So, in a nutshell, yes, IEMT can be done as self-work. And it's one of the things I teach the people I work with when I am going to see them after a week. And it's one of the things that Andy teaches in his trainings, which is pick a memory, pick 2 memories a day. Just start the day by thinking of these memories, moving your eyes, and imagine what happens after a year if you are like integrating 1 or 2 memories a day. So that's more than 720 something, 730 memories per year. To keep it simple about the process to start with. So when you're doing self-work, it's easier to have some points of references. So if I'm going to give an example, if you can see this closet behind me, I would turn and I would look at it because it has very defined lines. So there's the top, which is over here. There's the bottom, which is over here someplace. So I would be looking at it and I would be using these as a reference. So how strong is the feeling? How familiar? When's the first time I can remember feeling this feeling, etc. And just following the straight lines that are present on this. I wouldn't do identity unless I have something like that, or I would put on the screen the infinity sign. But I would leave the identity to do with some other people because it's easier to manage. But if you can and have like a specific place where you can focus and have this figure of 8 and know how to work with identity, it's worth exploring because it generates a lot of positive results. At least that's what I experience when I do identity work on myself. Now, what this person is asking and what this person is mentioning is that when they are doing self-work, they find themselves like they can't continue. They find themselves that they lose focus. Okay? Now, usually when somebody says, I can't focus anymore on that specific thing, and they move to another thing, like they have to go someplace else. Here's something that is currently being taught by Andy in the latest IEMT trainings. I'm not going to go into it a lot. I'm just going to describe what's going on with this person. So this person is experiencing a dominant emotion, which could be anger, regret, sadness, guilt, whatever. And usually for a lot of people, when they are having these experiencing, they have something that is called an escape, which is basically, I don't want to feel this anymore. Let me get out of it. So whether it's an email or whether it's something that they need to finish or whether it's something that gets them out of that state, that's an escape. And this escape is basically what some people do, what most of us do actually, in order not to face something specific, in order not to have to deal with these specific things. Because if I'm starting from a specific emotion, let's say it's sadness, guilt, etc., and I'm experiencing it in the here and now, and I do some work on it, it will take me to something else. It's probably masking one of the patterns of chronicity. It's probably masking one of the bigger imprints. So if I go back to the picture, so you have the dominant emotion, which could be sadness, for example, let's say sad. And you have complementary emotions, which are things that come with it. So what could come with sadness? Could be frustration, for example. So if I am working on frustration, which is a complementary emotion, and it increases, guess what? Sadness is gonna pop up. This was called in previous trainings or in the early IEMT trainings, the Nexus, where one thing led to another, to another, to another, to another. Also, if we go back to the person's experience, which is over here, the person goes, I would feel so irritated and agitated to continue the work, and I did not feel better or relieved. So the expectation is, if I start with a specific feeling, I need to deal with that first. But the thing is, when you're working on yourself or you're working with a client, if you are starting, let's say, for example, with guilt, and then you go to nervous, sad, agitated, irritated, this is the new feeling that you have right now. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is this irritated or agitated? And how familiar? And when was the first time you can remember feeling this feeling? Because in that experience, you moved into these specific feelings, which are agitated, irritated, nervous, sad, etc. And the thing is, the memories you're working with don't have to be something very major, don't have to be something that is important. It could be something minimal, but on the long run, this minimal experience has created the specific thought process, the specific response, the specific emotional set. So let's say you find out that you're angry and you go, okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is this anger? That's a 7. How familiar? Very familiar. When's the first time I can remember feeling this feeling? It's an 8. Oh my God, I forgot to send this email. What's the frame over here? The frame over here is anxiety. And when I go to anxiety, we have the 3 pillars. And if we go to the 3 pillars, anxiety comes from guilt, shame, regret, remorse, or it's before anger and temper if we're using the 3 pillars model. So this person moved from anger to anxiety, which is a step before. So in order for me to avoid feeling anger in the here and now, I move to the future thinking about something I'm anxious about. I should do this or else something would happen, which is also a what-if pattern and the patterns of chronicity. So what's happening with this person is very, very normal. And the idea is, okay, so if I'm feeling anxious about sending this email, is it the anger that I need to deal with, or is it something related to the retrospective emotions that I need to deal with? So things can change. So what's going on with you is very, very normal. You just need to map things out, and with enough experience, with enough practice of what you're experiencing, you can actually find out what are the things that are actually going to be helpful in this specific state, and what are the things that can be worked on. So in every experience you have that you're trying to do this, write down the emotions that you jump into, and based on that, try to map it out. And after a while, like the next day, or when you're in the state again, try to do some IEMT on it and see if the same process happens and you notice this specific pattern. And when you are able to manage that, this will create a ripple effect and get you better results when you're working with yourself. It could be challenging working on oneself, but once you start understanding these intricacies, it will create a very helpful and efficient process to cool down, integrate, shift these experiences that you have. So it's not just think of a memory, move eyes, everything is better. No, some things could be connected in ways that you haven't noticed before. I hope this helps, and have a lovely Sunday.